Hello happy souls, this is my new project Suzuki Max $100 revamp, and these are all the chapters which I've categorized for this switch edition project. And now we are in chapter 13, and in this we are going to assemble the engine, and in that we are in part 1 going to see about the engine casing, bearing and other units. And this is the engine assembly, the center case, LH and the RH unit. And inside this the gear assemblies, the crankshaft, connecting rod and other things will be assembled. And this is the hole for cooling the bearing, and this is where the petrol oil is mixed and comes here and cools the crank unit and the bearing of the crankshaft. And this is the clutch bearing. Actually it is not available in the market right now, and I tried online also, but they refused to deliver. They cancelled the order from their side, and it is not available in Chennai, Kanyakumari and Madurai, other districts. I tried a lot but I couldn't get it. And other than that, for the LH side casing you need 6205C3 and 6001 and 6204 bearing, and for the RH side casing you need 6304, and finally the clutch which we saw already 98206 C3L. And these are all the bearings, you can see it is from TVS brand, some are from Hero brand, other things. Like this is like I prefer SKF bearing. They have a standard. If you say these numbers you can get the same size bearing from any brand. It is same as MRF manufacturers tie-up for many OEMs. Likewise these bearing companies also manufacture for other many brands, just they need the number. And then moving to the oil seal, this is this is to prevent the leakage from moving parts and other things. Wherever oil comes we have to seal it with these oil seals, or else it may cause oil bleeding. And for sealing this we have to use these oil seals. And this is mainly used in RH side casing, and one for the magneto side, one for the sprocket and gear unit, and kicker for the outer side, and for the clutch activator. The totally there are 6 oil seals for this. And then this is the packing kit, and these are all for the engine parts, and the main casing, center casing, RH side casing and other things. Wherever the parts are splitted for assembling that, and to prevent leakage, these packing kits are used. And first we can take all the things one by one. And for normal parts which are in normal condition, we can use these paper type packing kits, and wherever it is hot we can use SS type or aluminum or special steel. And here in this case for silencer it will come, and for cylinder head it will come. And the first one is for the RH side clutch side casing, and this packing kit is for the center casing LH and RH. And this one is for the cylinder head, not cylinder head, cylinder. And this one is for the cylinder head, the aluminum one. And this one is for the neutral light indicator, and one is for the carburetor unit, and one is for the reed valve, and one which is round in type is for the silencer unit, and another one is for the oil pump. Totally there are 9, I think, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 packing kit. And these are the things required for installing this bike. And other than that, another one more bearing, it is like normal, it is not like a normal bearing, it is called the thrust bearing or the thrust washer. And this is a special type of bearing used only for Suzuki bike. And this is a rare part which is also not available in the market. I tried a lot here, and finally I went to my native. There I visited an old shop. They had 2 piece, so I bought that for one for my Max 100 and one for the upcoming bike Suzuki Samurai project. And this is the old part. This is how it looks. It is worn out, so I am using a new one. This is how it looks. two side it looks like washer, and at the mid it is like the thrust washer. This is fully an assembly, and these are all the parts which we are going to assemble: the bearings, the oil seals, the packing kits, uh, and gear oil and petrol oil. The crankshaft is already ready, which we have taken to the lathe, and we have modified with the internal bearings and other things. All this is a kicker assembly, and I have taken everything, and we can assemble one by one. This is the old part. You can see some of them is missing, and you can see the impression of the thrust bearing. You can see the impression here also. And after taking this, and these are the assemblies, and this is how it comes. That is a breather tube. This is the gear selector, and this is the oil, this is the petrol oil, and everything is ready to install now. And first we can take the gear assembly alone, and this is one assembly. We can't unmount it, and then this is the proper way to install. This will select the gear, and you can see this one here, it is like flat area. Here some space is there, and this has to be installed like this. The selector is in correct position, and here a gap is there, so this is a proper way to install. And then after this, this has an extrusion there, and if we reverse it, this will like engage crash with the other gear, so there should be a gap with every gear. I'm showing it once again, and this is the main selector, the first one that engages properly with that one, that won't go in this gear. And at the top you need a gap for this one, and here the extrusion should be there, and then finally the washer. This is one assembly, and this is another gear assembly. If you want, you can remove this, but here I just washed all the gear assemblies with diesel and cleaned and dried it. And this is where the thrust washer comes. Here you can find any impressions, and first install the plain washer, and then these thrust washers. Dip all the parts in oil while installing, and just for demonstration I'm using this, and this is how it comes. And this is the gear selector. This is like a sequential gearbox. 1 2 3 4 is in same direction, so it is called a sequential gearbox. And this is how the selector works. Whenever we apply the gears, it selects and changes the gear, and we get a different gear ratio, and it is delivered to the sprocket, and it is driven by the sprocket assembly and the wheel. And then before installing, keep the gear in engaged position, and make sure it is in neutral position. And for support I am using this 666 anabond, and this is how the selector should seat. The screw part at the top should face at the RH side. And after keeping this, the gearbox assembly is ready. And this is the gear oil, 500 ml, and this is not like the 4-stroke engine. In 4-stroke engine, the engine oil will cool the crankshaft unit, but here the case is different. The gear oil won't enter the engine chamber. It is cooled by petrol oil. And first one is the clutch bearing, which I said, which is not available in the market. And if you get this, you are too lucky. And the price of the bearing is 320 rupees, but In online I saw people selling for 700 and 800, but that are like old parts. And for installing this, I'm taking the old bearings. And there are many ways to install it. You can heat around the corners, or you can heat with the heat gun, or you can use this method. I'm using like a, nut and bolt assembly. And to reduce the spacing time, I'm using these extra parts. And while holding this, we can normally tight, so that it will easily and properly and silent it will seat. And after doing this clutch assembly is ready. This is one way to install it. After installing, we can see the RH side bearing, the LH, and the other sub assemblies. After tightening it completely, you can remove these assemblies. You can see it is properly installed. And if you find any difficulty, you can also tighten it till it properly engages. And here I feel that there is some gap, so I'm using the the socket assembly, and tightened it. Now it is properly engaged. And then for seating, we have to lubricate each and every part, and you shouldn't dry install it. And there is one more possibility, that is, you can install it by heating the aluminum part. These bearings will be like of toughened steels and hardened steel. So if we heat the aluminum part, it will expand and you can easily seat the bearings. Here I am using the nut and bolt assembly. And since here the length of the bearing is too low, so I am just hitting with the hammer. And here one rule is there for installing the bearing, which is in contact with the part, that has to be heated with hammer. Here the outer part seats with the bearings outer part, so you have to install with heating around the corners of the bearing. And this is the RH side case bearing, and this is a 6304 actually. You can see there is a key for both the ends, one for the clutch side and another one will come for the magneto side. And here also lubricate all the parts. And the another method is like I tried installing this with gas stove. First I tried to expanded the casing, center casing, and then tried to install the bearings, but it doesn't work for me. And I already said in many videos, I am in an apartment, and so the sound may produce, so I'm using this silent method. And if you see here, the bearing is going to install around the corners. The outer part of the bearing is going to install in the wall of the center casing, so we have to concentrate only on the outer side. And if we hit at the center, this could damage or reposition the center bearing, ball bearing, and it could damage the center part of the bearing. So here I'm using a bigger diameter, and then I am trying to seat these bearing in its place properly. First I installed and then found some gap there, so I am once again tightening these bearings. And here after installing this, oil seal will come here, so we have to maintain proper space for them. And you can use a hammer also. And if you start heating, you can find the difference when the space of the bearing reduces. You can notice a change in sound while installing the bearing. Once it is fully engaged, you can find the difference of the sound while heating the bearing. But one rule is we have to hit all around the corners of the bearing. And this is the oil seal, and this is the direction. Lubricate these parts also. And this is where the oil enters at the RH side casing, because oils will be immersed in the clutch and gearbox unit, and these chambers will be fully circulated with oil. Here it won't enter like in four stroke engines, because the crank is cooled with petrol oil, and here the oil from the gearbox unit has to be stopped, so we are using this uh, oil seal. And you have to hit around the corners. It's the same, you can use a bigger socket to install the oil seal. And finally the RH side casing is done with installing two bearings, and this is the LH side casing, and here comes three bearings. The one is for 6205 C3, and another one is 6204, and another one is 6001. Here this is where the petrol oil comes and cools the bearing. I'm just checking these vents are good in condition. If not, you can clean, and you can install the bearings. Here this is also the outer part which seats in the casing, so I am concentrating only on the outer part. And for this area, the oil leakage is prevented by the oil seal, which has to be installed at the outer side of the bearing. We will be seeing these things in the upcoming videos. The gap to be maintained, and if you are installing the bearing in a shaft or a gear, the center part has to be concentrated, because in that case that is the point where it contacts. And this one is the smallest bearing, and this is 6001. And one is for the gear unit, and this is for the clutch unit, I think. Inside it a clutch rod will come, which will be activated by the levers and cables. Here also I'm using the same technique, and you can do the same for the other bearing 6204, I think, that number. And after doing this we can start assembling the in gearbox unit and kicker shaft and other internal components, the crankshaft and other things. I hope you guys can install the leftover bearing, that is 6204. And while taking this video, my mobile went out of memory, so I couldn't capture that, and so it is not available in this editing. And hope you guys can do that well. And see you in next video. Until that, please keep supporting and share this video to Suzuki lover, and many more exciting videos are upcoming. And till that, bye, and have a good day.